It all began when I saw an ad in the paper seeking home help. I applied and was invited for an interview. Upon arriving at the large house, I was greeted by the lady of the house. After a brief introduction, she explained the situation. Only she and her husband lived there full-time, while their children were away at university. With the kids gone, she had returned to her previous job and no longer had time for housework. They needed someone who could handle the household chores as well as gardening and maintenance. Fortunately, I had the skills required. After the discussion, she showed me around the house and its grounds. The house had 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3 reception rooms, a study, a kitchen, and a basement. The grounds were equally impressive, featuring a double garage, shed, conservatory, and a pool area complete with a gym, sauna, and jacuzzi. As we toured the property, I realized how much work this would be for just one person. She agreed and assured me that additional help would be available if necessary. We returned to the conservatory for tea, where she offered me the job. I wanted to accept immediately, but I played it cool and asked if there were any conditions attached. She informed me that I would be required to live on site in the newly converted attic room. She also mentioned that I would need to wear clothing suitable for the tasks I'd be performing daily. I asked if I needed to buy the uniforms, and she assured me that she would provide them. As for the salary, she told me that along with the provided work clothes, accommodation, and meals, I'd be paid £800 a month. I asked no further questions, and after some more discussion, I accepted the job. We agreed on a start date in 2 weeks. Before I left, she took my measurements to have the uniforms custom made. A few days later, I began preparing to leave my shared house. I moved most of my belongings to my parents' attic, keeping only my books, stereo, music, and some clothes, since I would be provided with uniforms for work. On the Monday of my first day, I arrived by taxi to be greeted by my new employer. We didn't have time to fully settle in, as we were headed to an outfitter's to finalize and collect my work clothes. However, I was told we had a stop to make first. When I asked about it, she just told me that I'd find out in due time. We eventually arrived at a beauty salon. Assuming my boss was just making an appointment, I suggested I wait in the car, but she told me to come inside, as we'd be there for a while. Inside, she greeted the proprietor like an old friend and introduced me. The proprietor assessed me, then said, "About 2 hours." She led me to the back of the salon, telling me to get undressed and put on a robe that was hanging on the door. I complied, changing into the white cotton robe. I was still unsure of what was happening when the proprietor returned and asked, "Have you taken everything off?" "Yes." "Everything?" "Yes." "Then you'd better put these on," she said, handing me a pair of white cotton briefs. She led me into another room, which was slightly larger and contained a hospital-style bed. There, I was introduced to a young woman named Kirsty. The proprietor explained, "If you take off the robe and lie on the bed, Kirsty will take care of everything." I hesitated and asked, "What do you mean by take care of everything?" "A full body wax, of course." "See you later," she said, leaving the room and closing the door behind her. I was completely confused as I followed Kirsty's gesture to lie on the bed. Over the next hour, my legs, arms, chest, back, armpits, and even eyebrows were waxed and plucked. Afterward, she asked me to remove the briefs so she could wax my backside. When the briefs were back on, she finished by waxing my bikini line, something I hadn't even realized I had. "Why are you doing all this?" I asked. "It's the lady's instructions," Kirsty replied. An hour later, completely hairless except for my head and pubic area, I put the robe back on just as the proprietor returned. She quickly checked Kirsty's work, nodded in approval, and led me to another room. This one was similar to the previous, but with a much lower table. I was introduced to Sally. "Sally will take care of your manicure and pedicure," the proprietor said before leaving, closing the door behind her. Sally, like Kirsty, was very chatty. While working on my pedicure, she talked about all sorts of things. I let her words wash over me, still thinking about what was happening. Then she asked, "What color would you like for your nails?" Excuse me? As part of the pedicure, you get a free coat of nail polish. What color would you like? I'm not sure. Shall I choose one for you? Sure. She selected a bright pink shade called Shocker and applied it to my toes. After finishing my pedicure, she moved on to my hands. Typical, she said, you never take care of your nails. She proceeded to clean and file my nails before adding nail extensions. They weren't overly long, but definitely longer than I'd ever had them. Without asking, she painted them with the same bright pink color. Now completely confused, I just followed as the proprietor led me away from Sally. In the main part of the salon, I was introduced to Beatrice, who was to work on my hair. She washed my shoulder-length hair, pointing out the split ends. By the time she finished, it was cut about 4 inches shorter and just above my ears. Just as Beatrice finished, my boss walked in. I stood up, ready to speak, but she placed a finger to her lips. Questions later. Let me look at you first. She seemed pleased with what she saw and told me to get dressed. Alone in the small room, I struggled with my clothes. My newly waxed skin made my rough clothes feel uncomfortable, and it was hard to get dressed with the long nails. When I walked back into the salon, Kirsty, Sally, and Beatrice were waiting to say goodbye. See you again soon, they said, and I gave a sheepish wave. Since there were no parking spaces in front of the salon, my boss had to park around the corner. As we walked to the car, I felt increasingly self-conscious about the bright pink nail polish on my long nails and my relatively feminine bob. With my neatly plucked eyebrows, I felt sure people were staring. I expressed my concerns to my boss, but she just told me not to worry and to keep up. Once in the car, I relaxed a little. At least inside, no one could see how strange I looked. As we pulled into traffic, my boss noticed me glancing at my nails. They look great, don't they? Just wait until your natural nails are that long. I grunted in response. What's wrong? Don't you like the color? It's not that, I said. I just don't understand why I've spent the whole morning in a beauty salon, having treatments like a woman. We only had time for a short visit today, she explained. You'll have more time for a full session later. That's not what I meant. I said. Why did you make me do this? Make you? She replied, sounding confused. I don't remember forcing anything on you. I thought about this, but she continued, when was the last time you took care of yourself? It's better to have strong, healthy nails and hair. Plus, you'd look a bit silly in the uniform if you hadn't done this. Her words made me pause. What do you mean? Well, the uniforms I've had made for you have a specific look. If the person wearing them doesn't look right, the whole outfit looks off. You don't want to look silly all day at work, do you? No. I guess not. Then no more complaints. I fell silent, unsure of what was happening. I wasn't angry, just confused. She was right, I couldn't remember the last time I'd done anything to pamper myself. Some time later, we pulled up to a large, detached house. As we got out of the car, a woman in her mid-50s came out to greet my boss with a hug and a kiss. She then turned to me. Ah, so you're the new home help, she said, holding my shoulders. I think you'll do just fine. What do they call you? Simon. Not for long, she said with a sly glance at my boss. I'm Aunt Helena. Come on in, let's get started. Feeling a mix of confusion and unease from her cryptic comment, I followed Aunt Helena and my boss inside. After shutting the door behind us, we walked to a conservatory at the back of the house, where a pot of coffee was waiting. I was offered a seat and a cup of coffee, and then the two women chatted about various topics while I sat in silence. After a while, Aunt Helena set her cup down. All right then, shall we get started? She asked. We followed her upstairs to a large room with wall-to-wall wardrobes, a couple of chairs, a large mirror, and a screen. The first thing I want you to do is go behind that screen and get undressed, Aunt Helena instructed. There are black briefs on the stool. Put them on. They'll be tight, but they should fit. Her tone left me with little choice but to comply. Behind the screen, I hesitated, taking off my clothes slowly, partly because of my long nails, but also due to a growing sense of discomfort. The briefs were too small, but I managed to pull them up. It felt awkward and uncomfortable, so I repositioned myself and stepped out from behind the screen. I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror and was surprised by my androgynous look. "Don't get distracted staring at yourself now, or you'll spoil the fun," Aunt Helena said with a smirk. "Let's take a look at you." She came closer, pulling out a tape measure and starting to measure different parts of my body. As she moved around me, she made small, approving comments to herself, and I was once again hit with that feeling of unease, though I couldn't ignore how lovely her perfume smelled. "Excellent," Aunt Helena said, turning to my boss. "The measurements you took were accurate, and the clothes will need very little adjustment. Shall we continue?" "At your convenience," my boss replied, with a relaxed tone. "Shall we go with B, C, or D?" Aunt Helena asked. I stared blankly, not understanding the options. "We'll go with C for now," my boss said. "D would look great, but I think it might be a bit much too soon. It might be harder for him to get used to." "C it is," Aunt Helena said, walking to a wardrobe. She opened a drawer, rifled through it for a moment, and then returned with 2 silicone chests. "Let's see how this looks," she said, moving behind me and positioning them on my chest. I was taken aback. "What? Why?" "No, not you," Aunt Helena said, turning to my boss. "What do you think, Elise?" "Perfect," Elise replied, nodding approvingly. "All right, I'll get the adhesive," Aunt Helena said. "What adhesive? I'm not wearing fake chests." I protested, feeling confused and uncomfortable. Aunt Helena opened her mouth to respond, but Elise raised her hand to stop her. "As I mentioned before, the uniforms I've had made for you have a very specific look. If the person wearing them doesn't look right, the whole outfit looks off. You don't want to spend your days at work looking silly, do you? If you're telling me you no longer want the job, that's fine, but you'll need to work a month's notice. Until then, I'm paying you, so I make the decisions. Understood?" I nodded reluctantly. "Yes." "Good," Elise said, gesturing to Aunt Helena. "Continue, and ignore his protests." Aunt Helena applied some adhesive to the back of the silicone chests and positioned them on my chest. She stepped back and said, "Hold them there while I go get a bra. Make sure they stay in place, or you'll have wonky chests for the next week." "Week?" I asked, confused. "Yes, the glue lasts a week. You'll need to remove them, clean them, and re-glue them every week to avoid an unfortunate situation where they come off." Aunt Helena returned with a simple black satin underwired bra. She fastened it around my chest and carefully adjusted the cups around the silicone chests. I stared at myself in the mirror, now looking more feminine than androgynous. How did I end up in this situation? I hadn't even seen the uniforms yet, nor started my duties, yet here I was, hairless, with bright pink nail extensions and a unisex hairstyle. A woman I barely knew had glued fake chests to my chest and made me wear a bra, and it seemed like I had no say in the matter. What were these women trying to do to me? All I wanted was a job. "Before we check the uniforms, we need to address your figure," Aunt Helena said, producing a simple black corset. She loosely fastened it around my waist. "Now, hold on to that handle above your head," she instructed. For the first time, I noticed a wooden handle hanging from the ceiling, similar to what you'd use for water skiing, but I had a feeling this wasn't for that. I obeyed, and as soon as I did, Aunt Helena began pulling the ribbons at the back of the corset. She tightened it, constricting my waist, and just when I thought she was done, she pulled it even tighter. Once satisfied, she tied it off and told me to let go of the handle. As soon as my arms dropped, the pain hit me, and I felt like I might faint. The pressure was unbearable. Sensing my distress, Aunt Helena brought a stool from behind the screen and told me to sit down. She then rolled stockings up my smooth, hairless legs and attached them to the suspenders hanging from the corset. "Don't worry about the pain," she said soothingly. "You'll get used to it soon." I grunted in response, wanting to protest, but I kept quiet, not wanting to anger her. Standing up again, I tried to regain my composure. I glanced in the mirror. This time, my body definitely looked feminine. "Now, let's look at the uniforms. Which one do you want to see first, the day uniform, evening uniform, or the function uniform?" I kept silent, dreading what was coming. It seemed I'd be working dressed as a woman for at least the next month. I could only hope the uniforms would be more comfortable than the corset. Elise suggested, "Let's start with the evening uniform, then the function one. After that, we can remove the corset and finish with the day uniform. I think it would be a bit unfair to make him wear it all day." "As you wish," Aunt Helena replied. Though I would have been stricter. I silently counted my blessings that Elise had some common sense. The evening uniform turned out to be a white satin blouse, a fitted black skirt that came mid-thigh, and a pair of black patent heels with about a 2-inch heel. Aunt Helena completed the outfit by tying a small white satin apron around my waist. "I expect you to wear this uniform every evening when you serve me and anyone else in the family dinner. Walk around a little," Aunt Helena instructed. I followed her orders, trying to walk around the room. It was clear I had no experience walking in heels, and it would take some getting used to. When I returned to my spot, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. While I definitely looked feminine, I could still tell I was a man in women's clothing. I just hoped I wouldn't have to go out like this. Satisfied with the outfit, Elise instructed Aunt Helena to undress me so we could try on the next uniform. Soon, I was standing there in just my bra, corset, stockings, and panties, awaiting the next outfit. Aunt Helena returned from the wardrobe, and I wasn't surprised by what she had prepared. First, she removed my stockings and replaced them with fishnet ones. Then she handed me a pair of black satin panties with white frills on the bottom. She then held up a traditional French-made outfit. Aunt Helena lowered the dress over my head and adjusted the bodice to fit my chest. The dress had short sleeves and a very short skirt that revealed the frilly panties. She tied a white satin apron around my waist and attached a small white headdress to my hair using hairpins. Finally, she had me sit down to put on the shoes, this time, 4-inch calf-length boots that laced up. By the time she finished, I was tightly bound in the outfit and struggled to stand. Standing in front of the two women, I felt utterly ridiculous. That feeling didn't improve when I caught sight of myself in the mirror. "This is the outfit you'll wear for functions when we have guests. And don't worry if you get tired of black, Aunt Helena has also made one in lilac for cocktail functions," my boss tells me. "Now, let me see you walk around." I hesitantly take a step forward and immediately stumble, falling flat on my face. As I hit the ground, two things happen. First, the women start giggling, and second, I do something I haven't done in years, I start to cry. Sitting on the floor, struggling to get up, I must look pitiful, as even Aunt Helena steps in to help me up and sit me down. There, dear," she says, patting my back. "I can see how overwhelmed you are. It's not every day a girl's dream comes true." "But I'm not a girl," I blurt out between sobs. "No, of course not yet," she replies, handing me a tissue to wipe my tears. Her words stun me, but I'm too shocked to respond. The next few moments blur by. I'm quickly stripped of the function outfit, the corset, and stockings. The relief of the corset being removed is immense, and I feel surprisingly comfortable standing there in just my bra and panties. The daytime uniform is much simpler. Over a pair of dark tights and a black body shaper, I'm given a plain black dress with short sleeves and buttons down the front. Once again, I'm expected to wear the mandatory white apron, but this time, the shoes are more comfortable, simple 1-inch pumps. Compared to what I've been dressed in the past hour, this outfit feels almost normal, and I'm able to regain some composure. My boss seems pleased with the outfit and instructs me to undress and put on my original clothes, though I'm to keep the black panties and bra on. As I dress behind the screen, Aunt Helena packs away my uniforms while she and my boss chat about various things. I'm shocked by how normal everything seems to them. I also notice how odd my old clothes feel now. They're uncomfortable in comparison to the fitted, formal attire I've been wearing. After another cup of coffee, my boss and I say goodbye to Aunt Helena. She gives me a big kiss, saying she'll see me soon. I put the bags in the car's boot and get into the passenger seat, sulking like a teenager. We drive in silence for a while before my boss speaks up. "How are you feeling?" "How do you expect me to feel?" I reply sulkily. "Well, considering the money I've spent on you, I thought you might be a little grateful." "Grateful for being made to dress like a woman and look like a freak?" I snap back. "That's a shame. I thought you looked lovely. But I see what you mean now, you do look a bit of a mess. I've got an idea to make it better." Her idea is to stop for tea and explain why all this is happening. I ask if we can stop somewhere less noticeable because I'm embarrassed by my appearance. We stop at a small tea room that's open but empty. We sit down, my boss orders 2 cream teas, and then she begins to speak. "Since I've started working again, I haven't been able to take care of the house like we both want. I've needed home help for a while. When I discussed it with my husband, he said it was fine to hire someone, but not a young man. He doesn't trust me. I didn't want to hire a young woman, though, because I'm not sure he could keep his hands off her. So, I was in a bit of a dilemma. I wasn't sure what to do, but I went ahead and posted the ad. After a few interviews that didn't go well, you showed up. As we talked, a solution to my problem emerged. I would hire a young man, but dress him as a woman. That way, my husband can trust me, and I can trust him." "You could have told me this before," I say, feeling betrayed. "But then you wouldn't have taken the job, would you?" Elise responds. "I know it's hard, but try it for a month. If you don't like it, you can leave." Reluctantly, I agree. After all, it seems like I have no other choice. For now, though, we need to do something about your appearance. You do look a bit like a man in drag. How about we go shopping? Not really, I reply, but if it's going to make me look better, I suppose I should. After paying the bill, we head to a local department store. Walking through the crowds feels like the most embarrassing thing I've ever done, but I keep my head down and follow my boss. Once inside the store, the first thing she decides to do is give me a makeover. Her reasoning is that it will help me appear more feminine, so when I pick clothes, I won't attract so much attention. The whole idea makes me uneasy, but anything that can help me blend in is welcome. She chooses a makeup counter, and I sit down on a high stool. The attendant asks what kind of look I want, but thankfully my boss speaks for me. I don't know anything about makeup and certainly don't sound like a woman, so I'm grateful to remain silent. The attendant applies foundation, eyeliner, eyeshadow, mascara, blush, lip liner, and lipstick. When she finishes, she shows me the mirror. I'm surprised to see a nervous-looking young woman staring back at me. It's only when I raise my eyebrows and see the reflection do the same that I realize the young woman is me. The attendant offers me a spray of perfume, and I point to a bottle labeled Eden. When she sprays it, I recognize it as the same scent Aunt Helena wears, which oddly comforts me. On the way to the clothing section, my boss tells me that my new bedroom already has some clothes, but there are others that could only be bought today. We start by heading to the outerwear section, aiming to buy something to wear home instead of my worn-out jeans and t-shirt. She asks me what I want to wear, and having the chance to choose my own female clothes is somewhat reassuring. At least I know I won't be stuck with something strange. I think a simple pair of trousers with a t-shirt, sweater, and low shoes would be good, I say hesitantly. "I'd rather you didn't wear trousers at all," she responds, "but I'll let you choose them if you agree to let me pick a nice casual dress for you too." I can't argue with that, so I agree. I choose a pair of burgundy flared trousers with a zip at the back, a white t-shirt, and a white cardigan. I also pick out a pair of white loafers and ankle socks. Elise checks my selections and leads me to the fitting rooms. She offers to go in with me, but I say I can manage on my own. The fitting rooms are much like the ones I'm used to. I change into my new outfit, and it fits well, thanks to Elise's careful choice of sizes. The strange thing is, even though it's trousers, I still feel like a man in women's clothing. Maybe I'll get used to it. I step out of the fitting room so Elise can check how it looks. She likes it so much that she wants to buy it right away so I can wear it for the rest of the shopping trip. She goes to pay for the outfit, and I wait in the fitting room. When she returns, I change into the new clothes, and as we leave the room, I stop to grab my old jeans and t-shirt. "Leave them," Elise says, leading me out by the hand. "You won't need them anymore." Next, it's her turn to choose an outfit for me, and of course, it's something quite feminine. After trying on a few things, I end up with a knee-length floral dress with a flowy skirt, a pale pink cardigan, and a pair of light brown velvety slingbacks with 3-inch heels. As I stand outside the fitting room, being inspected by my new boss, I feel incredibly self-conscious. When I finally change back into the clothes I picked, I'm relieved to get back to something more anonymous. I place the dress, cardigan, and shoes back in the basket, ready to head to the checkout, when Elise says, "Hold on. You need a few more things." "Like what?" I ask. "Well, a pair of stockings or tights to go with that lovely dress," she says, taking my hand and leading me toward the lingerie section. "I've already bought you some basic underwear for your daily work, and that's back at the house," she continues. "But I needed to wait until your chests were fitted before buying bras. You can also pick some underwear for when you're off duty, as well as some nightwear. You'll buy your own things in the future, but it's only fair to start you off with something." The idea of picking out feminine underwear makes me blanch, but two thoughts occur to me. I'm not paying for any of this, and it's only for a month, so I might as well go along with it. We begin by selecting some basic cotton work bras. Elise picks a simple underwired style and adds 2 black and 1 white bra to the basket. She then encourages me to pick a couple of sets for myself. When I hesitate, she eagerly steps in to help. First, she picks a cream, lacy set, including a wonder bra and suspender belt. She also adds a couple of thongs and 2 pairs of knickers, explaining that they wear out quickly. Then she chooses a black satin bra with a matching, bone suspender belt, again adding 2 pairs of knickers and a couple of thongs to the pile. She also picks a few sports bras for me. "Since you've chosen such lovely suspenders, we can't go for tights. Let's pick some stockings instead," she says. Together, we select a couple of pairs of delicate stockings before moving on to the nightwear section. This time, she insists that I choose 2 outfits. She does, however, set one condition: I must pick at least 1 nightdress. I end up selecting a complete matching set that includes a pair of pajamas, a knee-length chemise, and a nightgown, all in pale blue satin. Finally, Elise suggests we buy a non-underwired bra to go with the nightwear. She explains that wearing a bra to bed will help the chest set correctly when they need to be re-glued. She looks at me with a smile. "Right, I think it's time to go home now." After paying for everything, we head back to the car, squeeze the bags into the already full boot, and begin the drive to my new home for the next month. Though I know the destination, I feel a sense of dread, unsure of what's to come or when I'll be able to escape this situation. As we pull up to the house, anxiety fills me. What will happen over the next month? What will I have to do? I only wanted a simple life, helping out as a housekeeper for a wealthy family. But in my wildest imagination, I never could have predicted ending up in this predicament. My boss drives up the long driveway and stops outside the front door. "First things first," she says, "we need to get all your new things upstairs." Between the two of us, we manage to carry all the bags in one trip. She leads me inside, up 2 flights of stairs, and stops at a rather unremarkable door. "This is your room," she announces, setting the bags down to open the door. She picks them up again and enters the room, with me trailing behind. She drops the bags onto the double bed in the middle of the room and leaves, telling me to take some time to get settled and unpack. I drop the heavy bags I'm holding, standing there numbly from the experience I've just gone through. After a few moments, I begin to take in my surroundings. My room is a fairly spacious double bedroom in the attic. The bed is flanked by two bedside cabinets. To the left, near the door, is a chaise longue. Across from the bed, under a dormer window, is a dressing table and a chest of drawers with a small television on top. At the foot of the bed is a row of fitted wardrobes with mirrored doors. Between the wardrobe and the chest of drawers is a slightly ajar door. I walk over and open it to find a bathroom with a bath, shower, toilet, basin, and bidet. The entire space is decorated in a very feminine style, with pastel colors and frills everywhere. Curious, I open one of the wardrobe doors, feeling both apprehensive and slightly mischievous, as though I'm snooping into someone else's closet, which, in a way, I am. If these closets are meant to be mine, it's a version of myself I don't recognize. Inside, I find a relatively empty closet. On the floor is a pair of rose-colored fluffy slippers and, surprisingly, a pair of trainers. Hanging on the rail is a white bathrobe and another black skirt similar to the one I wore at Aunt Helena's house. On a shelf, there are a couple of pairs of toweling hot pants and some t-shirts, likely for lounging around, although the trainers make me suspect my boss has some kind of training regimen in mind for me. So far, so good, I think to myself, though I'm not sure why, considering I'm standing there with long pink false nails and C-cup chests. I move over to the chest of drawers, dreading what I'll find inside. Sitting on the stool in front of it, I'm about to open a drawer when I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirrors. I look unmistakably feminine, more than I ever imagined possible. The top of the chest is covered with bowls of makeup and perfume bottles, and in the center is a small gift. I pick it up and read the label. Dear Stephanie, welcome to the household. We hope you enjoy your stay. I put it down, assuming it's from a previous occupant. I open the top drawer of the chest and find an assortment of panties and knickers. Thankfully, most of them are simple cotton styles, though there are two satin and lace thongs in a soft pastel pink. The next two drawers are empty, but in the bottom drawer, I discover several pairs of tights, mostly in black or barely black. There are also a few pairs of stockings in various styles, including fishnets, hold-ups, and some delicate stockings similar to the ones my boss chose for me at the store. Staring at my reflection, I can't help but wonder what led me to this situation and what lies ahead while I'm here. I sit quietly for a while, unsure of how to process what I've found, before finally deciding to start unpacking the bags. I begin with the clothes from Aunt Helena. First out is the lilac maid's dress she made for me to wear at cocktail functions. I stand there, feeling glum, imagining the first time I'll have to wear it in public. I hang it in the wardrobe, followed by the black version of the same design, which is slightly less outrageous. I'm just hanging up my regular day dresses when my boss enters, holding a tray with 2 cups of tea. I'm glad to see you've made a start, she says. Let's sit down and have a cup of tea, then I'll help you finish unpacking. I sit on the dressing table stool while she relaxes on the chaise longue and begins talking about the room. I hope you like it. It's quite well equipped, but if there's anything you need, just let me know. I've left the 2 middle drawers in the chest free for your bras and corsetry. There should be enough space, but if not, there are more drawers in the cupboard. I know the cupboards seem a bit bare right now, but I'm sure they'll be full up in no time. I stay quiet, not letting on that I'm hoping that no time at all never comes. In the bathroom, you'll find everything a lady needs: shampoo, conditioner, everything. If you need anything right away, let me know, but otherwise, it can wait until your next shopping trip. I've also stocked up on some makeup for you. I'm not sure what colors you'll prefer, but if you don't like what's here, you can always pick up more next time. I'm increasingly alarmed by the way she talks, as if this whole situation is completely normal and that it's going to be a long-term thing. She clearly has different expectations than I do, but when will I be able to challenge them? I see you haven't opened your present yet, she points out. What present? I ask blankly, knowing exactly what the answer will be. The one on the chest of drawers, she replies. But it's addressed to Stephanie. Yes, I know. We can't exactly keep calling you Simon when you look like that, can we? The illusion will fall apart, and everyone will know you're a boy instead of thinking you're a beautiful young girl. Of course, if you don't like Stephanie, we can choose something else. I'm about to protest, but I realize she's right. I'd feel even worse if she called me Simon in front of her guests. Not wanting to appear eager to play along, I simply reply, Stephanie will be fine. Well, go ahead and open it then. I unwrap the gift, and inside is a delicate gold lady's watch. Without hesitation, I slip it onto my wrist, surprised by how much smaller it is compared to my usual watch. I catch myself thinking how much I like the way it looks. After finishing our tea, we continue unpacking. My work skirts and blouses go into the wardrobe, as do my new dress and shoes. While I'm doing this, my boss unpacks my new underwear and organizes it in the chest of drawers, making comments like, I bet you can't wait to wear these, and I should have bought some for myself. I quietly carry on with the unpacking. Just as I'm about to hang up my night clothes, my boss stops me. Hold on, she says. Don't forget, you need to wear something to bed tonight. Which one will it be? I stand there, holding the pajamas in one hand and the chemise in the other, not wanting to wear either but knowing which one she'd prefer. Slowly, I look up at her, and, thinking of what she wants, I hold out the chemise and say, this one. She smiles, pleased. Excellent choice. You may as well leave that out. Don't forget the soft bra to go with it. Stay here, I'll be right back. I follow her instructions, then sit down on the edge of the bed once everything is done, letting out a long sigh. Stay here. Where else could I go dressed like this? A couple of minutes later, my boss returns, carrying the bags I brought with me. She sets them down on the bed. I hope you'll forgive me, she says, but while you were unpacking, I took the liberty of going through the bags you brought. I've taken out all your male clothes and stored them safely. The rest I've left in the bag so you can unpack and organize your things as you see fit. Instead of cooking tonight, I thought we'd order takeout. How does Chinese sound? I nod, signaling that Chinese is fine. All right then, I'll leave you to finish unpacking. I'll call you when the food arrives. Sitting on the edge of the bed, I bury my face in my hands. How did I end up in this situation? How am I going to get out of it? I can't exactly escape looking like this. Even if I somehow made it to any of my friends or family, they would ridicule me. But it's only for a month. I'm getting paid, and I won't wear out my regular clothes while stuck in this situation. It could be worse. Couldn't it? I finish unpacking my new clothes and the items from my old bags. Once everything is sorted, I stash the bags under the bed and stand there, wondering what to do next. I glance around the room and catch my reflection in the mirror. Looking myself up and down, I realize I've made a real mess of things with all the unpacking. I'm covered in dust, my hands are dirty, and my hair is a mess, so I head to the bathroom. While washing my hands, I take a closer look around. The bathroom is fully stocked with everything a woman could need. On the bath's edge are the usual shampoo, conditioner, shower gel, and soap, but also various products to make the bath smell nice. In the drawers by the sink, I find an electric lady shaver, hair remover, along with regular razors and tweezers. There's makeup remover, moisturizers, and a whole assortment of other products and tools designed to make a girl look pretty. It's amazing how much is required. As I brush my hair, I hope my boss doesn't expect me to use all of this. I have no idea where to even start. The t-shirt I'm wearing is covered in dust, so I decide to grab a fresh one from the wardrobe. As I pull off the dirty t-shirt, I'm reminded of my new reality by the unfamiliar feel of the bra around my chest. Standing in front of the mirrored wardrobe, I take in my reflection and can't quite believe these chests are fake. As I stand there, my boss walks into the room. My instinct is to cross my arms to cover my chest, but she catches me before I can. Oh, hello, dear. I'm glad to see you admiring yourself. You should be proud of your chests, not hide them. It's not like I haven't seen them before. Her friendly tone makes me feel strangely at ease, and I let my arms fall to my sides. The dinner has arrived, so put on your top and come join me. I thought we'd have a TV dinner. I grab a plain white t-shirt from the wardrobe. A brief look of disappointment crosses my boss's face before she tells me to follow her downstairs. As I head out, I glance at the wardrobe and notice the rest of the t-shirts are in pastel colors like pink and baby blue. Maybe she's disappointed I didn't pick a more feminine one. But so what? It's not my choice to look feminine. I'll wear what I want, given the choice. But as I walk, I realize how silly that attitude is. I'm stuck here for a month, and she's determined to make me live as a girl. If I try to fight it, it'll just cause problems, especially when I meet others, which I'm bound to do when she brings guests to the house. If I resist, I'll just end up looking like a guy in drag, not a girl, and I don't want to be found out. At that moment, I fully accept my situation, hoping that if I go along with her every wish, I might get out early, like parole. "Penny for your thoughts?" she says, interrupting my thoughts. "Nothing," I reply quietly. "There's always something," she responds. "But never mind, I'm sure you'll tell me when you're ready." We head to the kitchen, plate up the food, and carry it into the lounge where a bottle of bubbly is already chilling. "I thought we'd celebrate tonight," my boss says, handing me a glass of champagne. "To a new job and a fresh start," she adds, raising her glass and taking a sip. I follow her lead, then sit down to dig into my dinner. I hadn't realized how hungry I was, but then again, I hadn't eaten much all day. The evening passes quietly. We watch TV, and my boss makes occasional chit-chat, but I don't say much. I just sit there, nursing my glass and wondering what all of this is really about. As the 10 o'clock news finishes, my boss turns to me. "It's been a long day for you, so it's probably a good idea to head to bed now," she says. "I'll expect you in the kitchen for breakfast at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'll prepare it, and then we'll spend the day getting you familiar with the house and the chores that need doing. I expect you to wear your everyday uniform. Do you have any questions?" I shake my head. "Do you need anything?" she asks. "No, thank you." "All right, good night, dear. Sleep well. I'll clean up this evening." Back in my room, I strip down to the bra and panties I've been wearing since Aunt Helena's house and sit on the edge of the bed. There's no denying it, I look like a girl. I bury my face in my hands and start to sob. I can't believe this is happening. I don't cry. It must be the alcohol and the stress from the day. I head into the bathroom, remove my makeup, brush my teeth and hair, and wash up quickly. Back in the bedroom, I take off the black underwired bra and leave it on the chaise longue with my clothes. I face the floor-to-ceiling mirror, and even now, I look like a girl. The chests are so realistic. Slowly, I pull the black panties down my smooth legs, revealing my manhood. I just stand there, staring at myself. A freak, girlish body, boyish face, and a limp thingy. I can barely look at myself. I pick up the black panties and toss them into the laundry basket. I grab the nightdress, then remember the bra. Struggling, I manage to put it on, and when I do, there's a sense of relief. I hadn't realized how heavy the chests felt, but now that they're supported by the soft satin of the bra, I actually feel more comfortable. The nightdress slides over my body, and the sensation of the soft satin brushing against my smooth skin is different. It's not unpleasant, though. In fact, the feeling is oddly exciting, and to my surprise, my member starts to stir. Not wanting to deal with it, I quickly grab a pair of white cotton briefs from the chest of drawers and put them on, making sure to tuck everything in. I draw back the duvet and slip into bed, the satin sheets smooth under my skin. Propped up by a pillow, I set the alarm for 7 a.m. and look at my reflection in the mirror. What am I doing here? Why am I in this situation? The answers don't come. As I turn off the light, I drift into a restless sleep, feeling more lost than I ever have before. Thanks for watching. If you liked this story, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Also, consider becoming a member for exclusive stories and early access.